All right, welcome back. Episode 13, lucky number 13. This week's overview is going to be on Throwback weekend. We're going to recap Kansas, talk about who stood out. We'll do some drop the green bets, see where Spencer's got us. Do our Darlington predictions and close with stupid questions. As you can see, we got a Three's Company here today. But my name's Austin.
My name's Colby.
My name's Spencer.
Let's drop the green.
It's been a long time gone since the truth's been told, and I've seen my head cut us low. Come on, save my soul with a bar guitar and a honky-tonk crowd.
Colby making noises over here. So yeah, episode 13, right back in it. We got Colby here this week. He was going to fill in for me, but I ended up getting back a little bit early from vacation, so appreciate you stopping by.
Did you have fun on vacation?
I got really sunburnt.
Oh, good.
That was about the extent of it, but no, we had a good time for sure. Can't really sit or lay down comfortably.
If you sign up for his OnlyFans, you can see.
Yeah. At Lobster Daddy. But no, we'll jump right in. So episode 13, as always, we're going to dedicate this episode to somebody. So we'll start with Spence. Did you have anybody? I know we talked about it earlier.
No, I did not.
So 13, before we get into it.
I was going to let you two
Yeah,
handle it.
13's weird because it's technically bad luck. A lot of superstitions in NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
Number 13, green cars. But we did have a few. So we'll go, Colby, who'd you decide on?
Like the only person who ever really drove the number 13 is Casey Mears. If you haven't heard of the name Casey Mears, it's because in the Cup Series he has had 489 starts and one win. That's why you've never heard of Casey Mears. He won a 2006 Coca-Cola.
2007.
2007
Coke 600.
Coke 600.
400 Motorsports.
Ooh.
Yep.
So at one time he drove for Hendrick Motorsports.
So he was in a good car.
Yeah, but he comes from a legendary racing family.
Okay.
So his uncle is Rick Mears, who
Rick
won
Mears.
the Indy 500 4 times.
Oh, wow.
Only 4 people in history to ever do that, and his uncle was one of them. So he kind of rode some coattails
Yeah.
For sure.
to do a couple of good rides until he didn't.
Now, I will say he drove that 07 Jack Daniels car.
For a little bit,
yeah.
and then he drove that 42 Texaco car.
Yeah.
That one, then the 41 Target car. He was in like he conned his way
Into every
into
single
every
ride.
single ride he got, dude. Like there's probably pretty close statistics to what Corey LaJoy has right now, honestly,
Well,
with 100% more wins.
yeah. There's a big stat I have right down on here that Corey LaJoy does not have. But yeah, he drove the 13 car for, I'm going to say this wrong, Germain Racing?
Germain.
Yep. Germain Racing. But yeah, man, not a whole lot about that guy. I know he drove for Hendrick, like he said, and then, yeah, I mean.
Does he own the gas stations, Casey's?
No.
No,
Man.
no. No, like I said, he is just rode a lot of coattails to get to it. Because it wasn't just his uncle. Like, I think his grandfather was an IndyCar driver, and then he a lot of off-road racing in his family, too, and he just, had money and a really cool last name.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he made it work. But, yeah, so Jermaine, he drove that you probably recognize the car because Ty Dillon drove it when he got out. It was a 13 Geico car.
Another legend.
Yeah, another legend, yeah. Similar stats.
Yeah.
But it was like blue and white, and then the 13 was green. I promise you.
that definitely
Ty Dillon
sounds
was in it
familiar.
for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But once Geico left, I think they went to sponsor NASCAR as a whole, like Geico Restart Zone and all that.
Yep.
And then I think they did what do they call it now, like a premier sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
They got into that, and then once they stopped sponsoring Jermaine's like, well, we're fucked.
Yeah.
we can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Not that they were doing much to begin with, but
Cool.
yeah.
Well, who you got, man?
So I decided to pick. I actually last time you were here, Colby, with all of us, I talked a little bit about Smokey Yunick. I don't know if y'all remember. Y'all probably just tune me out when I talk.
Most of the time we try to.
Right. And the only thing that's going to do is make me say everything twice. So that's what happened there. So I'll talk a little bit about Smokey Yunick, specifically the 13 car that he built. So I think you got a picture of it pulled up.
Pull it up.
And I just want to see what y'all think. What y'all recognize about the car first. And then we'll go from there. So that's Smokey sitting next to his car. Do y'all recognize that car?
Yeah, that's the Ricky Bobby car.
Yep.
Yeah, Talladega
that's
Nights.
what- so the one in Talladega Nights was a 69 Chevelle, and that's a 67. So the only reason I'm saying that is because 69 was a different body style.
What a man.
I mean,
was a
look
man.
at him.
He was-
Glasses on the top of his
I
hat.
don't need to see.
Smokey.
Like, what a name.
I
But,
know.
he had a little, if you see it says Smokey, best damn garage in town. So
Yeah.
he had a speed shop there in Daytona Beach.
Okay.
But legendary crew chief, legendary car builder, not a driver. But this car specifically, so he spent all of 1967 in the winter working on it. Ended up getting sick, got like walking pneumonia just from working so hard on it and not sleeping, I'm sure. But back in the day when he was building this car, so NASCAR was, as we know, you took a factory car, took all the unnecessary stuff out of it, put a big motor in it, put big tires on it, and it was stock car racing.
Yep.
So Smokey was like, "No, I'm not doing that." So he read the rules, and it was like, you can substitute a stock frame or chassis for another frame or chassis if necessary. So he's like, "Okay, well, I'll just build my own," which we're used to that now. Not with next gen because that's all spec,
Yeah, it's
but
all spec.
before that, everybody was custom building it, and so back then, no one did that. So he custom built a frame for this car and built the rest of the car around it.
Wow.
So that custom frame, the engine was all set to the left, the driver was back and to the left, all.
So it's like over here? the
Yeah,
engine
just,
is?
it's just not centered. So it's a little bit
Okay.
more. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're exactly right. A little bit more left to center. And he had a little bit of an IndyCar background too, so he knew aero, he knew all that stuff really mattered. He inlaid the windshield into the front of the car.
Oh,
You
yeah.
kinda tell with
yeah.
these
He put a little,
tabs.
and then he put a little lip on the back of the roof to where it forced the air to dump on the spoiler.
Wow.
Too, like he was so far ahead of his time.
Yeah.
But he was the one. If you remember, I told y'all he was not on good terms with Bill France.
Yeah. They didn't,
So-
he didn't like him.
He called Bill France before the Daytona 500 and was like, "Hey man, I'm building this car. Here's what I'm doing. Will it pass? I just don't want to have to fuck with you being on my ass about it." And Bill's like, "Oh yeah, man, for sure. Just bring it on down in February." So he brings it down there, and they pick this thing apart. So the story I told last time y'all were here,
Yep.
where they took the
Basketball?
fuel tank out,
Yeah.
and he went on. So I looked that up. So this car, I told you, was a custom built frame.
Mm-hmm.
He put an auxiliary fuel tank in the frame rails.
No way.
So they had an extra 5 gallons of gas in the frame rails. So I was seeing if there's anything else. It was so tricked up. There's tons of stories on it. Oh, the other thing, a lot of people used to think he built this car and it was like a 7/8 scale of a Chevelle. So imagine a Chevelle, but
Smaller.
7/8 of the size.
Yeah.
So that's not true. What he did, he looked in the rule book and there's nothing about a like a floor rule of how low the floor had to be. So he took the floor and dropped it. And so when he did that, all the like the drive shaft, rear end housing, all that was inside the floor. So if you looked underneath the floor, it was all flat, which is how they are now, right?
Yeah.
But back then, your drive shaft was hanging down, your pumpkin in the back was hanging
So
down.
he created the next gen car.
Basically. Yeah. So, but yeah, dropped the whole car. That was unheard of. This is 1968.
Yeah, it
So
is crazy to think
67
about.
car. He's going for the 1968 Daytona 500. Long story short, they will not let him race the car. That car never hit the track.
Really?
So he got so pissed off. Like I said, took the fuel tank out. He got in it and drove it back to his garage down the street in Daytona Beach. He was just like, "Go to hell. I'm just done. If this is how y'all are going to treat me, I'm done." So Bill France comes to his shop. And this is what Smokey said. Bill France came to his shop. Was like, "Hey, I just want to talk this out." He got a 4-pound hammer, threw it at him. Bill France ducked, and it hit the fender of his brand new Pontiac car.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that's kind of like where their relationship it went off the rails a bit.
Yeah.
So one really cool quote he has in a book that he wrote. He said, "Was this car a cheater? You're goddamn right it was, but not by NASCAR's published rule book in 1968."
Dang.
But absolutely legendary car. Like I said, there's a reason they kind of redid it for Talladega Nights
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
to tell
It was
that
like
story.
Reese Bobby was kind of like that outlaw, like
Yeah,
don't
exactly,
care,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
That's
But,
cool.
Yeah, so pretty cool car. I mean, it's really, like you said, there's no 13s.
No.
And even this 13 seems to be cursed too because it never hit the track.
That's wild.
And that dog is the size of a cougar.
That dog is big.
That's a dog.
What type of dog do we think that is?
That's a Doberman.
It's like a Great Dane, isn't it?
No, Great Danes have more pointy ears, I think.
Yeah, and they're a little gray.
He probably modified his dog.
Oh my god.
So does a lab.
Yeah. That's wild though. That's so
But,
great.
yeah,
So
he's
that
cool
car
dude.
never raced.
Never raced, no.
And
he drove
that was the
Daytona.
last car he ever built for NASCAR.
That's kind of what really got him out of NASCAR because he was just, and this was not the first time he had problems getting through tech.
Yeah.
But this one, since he was kind of reassured, he was already in a little bit of bad health. I think he was just like, I'll go somewhere else. I mean, he built a car that won the Indy 500 in 1960. So I mean, he's very smart, and he read the rule book, and there was nothing that said he couldn't.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean you can because it's NASCAR.
Oh, we know how they are with the rules.
We know how they'll just invent one right there in front of your face.
Yes, they will.
But, well, good deal. So we'll make episode 13 Casey Mears Smokey Yunick edition. Once again, opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, for sure. Now my pick feels real stupid.
I love how we just keep doing that somehow.
Hey, but Casey Mears has one more win than Smokey Yunick.
As a driver, you're right. Yeah. Wow. So maybe he's better.
Yeah. This is the Casey Mears episode.
But we'll go right back into our overview. I thought this week would be a good week to talk about Throwback Weekend. So as y'all know, this week's Throwback Weekend.
Yes.
A little bit of history on it. So they started Throwback Weekend in 2015, and that's back when Darlington only had one race. So the Throwback Weekend was the Southern 500.
Yeah.
And then after 2020, when we ran Darlington 3 times, they added a second Darlington race to the schedule. And then the spring race became Throwback Weekend.
Yep.
So that's where we're sitting at now. That's kind of why it started. That's when it started. I think other sports do throwback jerseys type stuff.
Yeah.
But kind of what do y'all think? Do you think it's important? What do you think the point of it is?
I mean, I think the point of it is what they're targeting, and that's the older fan base that we clearly lose every single day. Every hour we lose another good one,
Right.
and not just because the sport is what it is, but because they pass.
They're
Sadly,
old.
yeah,
Yeah.
they are up in age. To me, does it actually engage those fans anymore? Probably not.
I don't know. I think it's weird. Like my dad thinks the Terry Labonte card is super cool.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is
Okay.
cool, yeah.
Because I mean that's back when he was watching and was a huge fan.
That's true.
So I think it creates a little bit of buy-in.
Okay. But do you think that these people that are not watching every day, every week, per se, like in that age range of your dad, are making a mental note of this week of like, hey, we're going to tune in?
I think it's maybe just because you accidentally see it,
Okay.
right? Or you're flipping channels. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah.
And then it makes you stop.
But there's
for
a high
second.
possibility when you're flipping channels that you turn the race on, there's a commercial going on.
or we're zoomed into the left headlight of the car.
Yeah, we're running a bumper cam to see what the back of the car looks like.
That's a topic for another day for
Yeah.
sure.
Here's a
but
Slim Jim cam for Ricky Stenhouse at 17.
Yeah.
Here's a 5-year-old in the stands.
Yeah.
There's a race for the lead.
I just think personally that it should be marketed from like the beginning of the year, kind of like what to me it's a premier race.
Yeah,
like it
for
is.
sure.
It's a great track. They always put on a good show.
Yep.
And when you market stuff like that, like the Daytona 500, like Talladega, if you put it on that level, I think you could get more people to tune in. Just call it Throwback Weekend.
Yeah,
Hey,
no.
tune in. Like we need to be seeing commercials for it at the 500 because a lot of those fans are going to tune in for the 500. Because everyone loves the 500.
Yeah.
Start throwing commercials. Like, hey, get your calendars ready. Because to me, the only people that really do ads on the next race is like the Fox.
Yeah.
And they only do it a week in advance. Like, it'll be during the race. Like, hey, we're at Kansas this week. Tune in next week. We're at Darlington,
and
3 o'clock.
you're already there watching.
Yeah, it's like you throw it out more, throw it out earlier and just keep doing it. And I do think that those fans would mark it down because if you do that every single race, who knows? If you catch 5 or 6 in Daytona, then you may catch 5 or 6 the next week, and then 12, and then 30. It just doubles every
Yeah,
time.
you're
So
right.
That's my thought on it, is that it should be marketed way longer than what it is. Literally, it just feels like the week before we all start talking about Throwback
sure.
Weekend.
Yeah.
And it is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's like you don't hear, like that fan that tunes in for the 500 just for the 500, they're probably not going to watch Phoenix.
No, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
but they'll tune in for the Throwback race.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I know it's the next point on here, not to jump ahead, but it doesn't help when other teams don't participate.
Yeah, I feel like this year we're at an all-time high of teams that don't participate.
It's like I do not like Hendrick. Like I appreciate Hendrick, but I don't cheer for Hendrick drivers because they're like the Alabama.
Yes.
But I will say that they did a great job on throwbacks. Every one of those cars.
And
so
but we had a discussion
Yeah.
about this off the air that it's easy for Hendrick to do that.
yeah, because they've been around for so long.
Well,
and
that
they
and
have
they're
the cars.
B2B sponsors.
Yeah, they're B2B sponsors, so that's
So they
the
can
big
they can push their hand on what anything they go. Hey, we're changing your logo to what we want it to look like.
So do you think these like companies that are sponsoring cars are like, no, use our current logo?
For sure, yeah. I think that's
Don't do a throwback.
that's exactly the reason companies and teams don't do it, is because they can come to them and be like, we want to run this shell car, and just put your logo here. And they're like, well, our colors aren't red and yellow.
Yeah.
Our font is this. And I mean, you know how it is working in corporate America. If you do not follow the brand guidelines,
Yeah.
you can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't do it. And so there's a really good example this week. RFK, you've got Castrol on Brad's.
Yep.
And so they're an automotive company, right? So they're going to bend a little bit. Well, they just ran an old Castrol paint scheme.
Yeah.
So that was easy.
That was.
Well, Fifth Third Bank is not going to change their logo to look like Viagra or DeWalt or any of these old Roush schemes.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just going to say, do you want us on the car or not?
Yeah.
At the same time, you would, like when a car runs a throwback, it's on social media. People
Yeah.
talk about it. There's
100%.
die cast.
But you know how
I haven't
it is.
bought a die cast like this size in so long, but I bought that Kyle Larson Kellogg's
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
And Kyle Larson's not even my favorite driver. Denny Hamlin's running a damn Yahoo car, and it's just going to be the most generic looking Christopher Bell looking Yahoo car that you've ever seen.
Yeah, but I mean, what is Yahoo's, just to play devil's advocate, what is Yahoo's incentive to do that?
I'm sure that Yahoo
For the
has like
small
an
number of
old
people?
logo, because Yahoo's been around for a little while. I mean,
Yeah,
they
but they're
have,
not going to, but JGR is going to want to throw back to an old
because they're
race
going to
car.
get more exposure. Yahoo's going to get more exposure because they're actually running a throwback scheme.
That's what I think, too.
Because Fox is going to
I don't
highlight it.
disagree
Look
with-
at these throwback cars, and Clint Boyer's going to be like, "Well, I just love right here, darling."
I mean-
and then people are going to buy the diecast. If Denny Hamlin was running the throwback scheme, I probably would have bought a Denny Hamlin diecast.
Yeah. No, and I don't think you're wrong. I just think that's the reason why they don't do it. So obviously they don't see the value. Maybe they would see the value if, like you said, NASCAR starts advertising
Yes.
Yeah, but ahead of time.
ahead of the week before.
Yeah.
But
It's a fault on everyone's part of
Yeah.
why the weekend doesn't always live up to the hype. I mean, like we said, Hendrick is going to have the best cars, the best schemes.
Because they can.
Because they can.
Yeah.
And to me, it does. I don't know if you can be 2311 and seek out sponsors just particularly for this race that would bend the rules for you. Like
well, what's weird is like Bubba's just running his regular McDonald's car.
I know.
And McDonald's has been,
McDonald's
in
been
this
around
sport
forever. Yeah.
Forever.
Well, what's so funny is they've also done commercials that have been like retro commercials.
Yeah.
I know.
They brought back the grimace
and
shape.
it's like, do they not try?
Yeah.
Like, do they not
there's a
really
there's a
talk?
disconnect
There's
somewhere.
definitely a disconnect. But to me, I think, as we can tell, a lot of retro stuff is in right now.
Yeah.
No matter
For sure,
what it is,
for
if
sure.
it's on a T-shirt, any type of brand. To me, this is easy time for a brand to just be like, dude, let's make something retro.
Here's
Yeah.
a reason.
Yes, here's a
to do
reason,
it.
and we can spend the same amount of
Yeah.
money.
Let's make shirts.
Like we've already spent the money.
Yeah.
We've already spent the money, and now they're going to do it for us.
Yeah.
We don't have to do nothing but just give them the ability to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's lazy on both parts. That's
Yeah, and I hate it because every year we'll have people that's like, has Throwback Weekend outlived its purpose? It's like, well, I don't want it to go away.
yeah.
I don't want it to go away at all.
Yeah.
But so did you know, real quick before we get into our last questions here, did you know every year of Throwback Weekend has a theme?
What's this year?
Grassroots racing.
Grassroots. So
So
is
the
that why they're
theme-
throwing back to dirt cars?
I don't know, but
Okay.
from my experience, no one ever sticks to the theme. Like
Yeah.
they'll do like a couple years ago, it was like 90s.
Really?
Right. But
Like
then-
all
but
90s
then-
cars is what they were
Yeah,
trying to go
but
for?
Nobody did it.
That's again, that's poor
Because Kyle
marketing.
Larson this year is doing a 90s car.
Yeah.
And we're doing grassroots. So let's just go through Hendrick. So Kyle Larson's doing 90s.
Yeah.
And then Bowman's doing an old Jimmy scheme from like 2005.
Yeah.
And then Chase is doing a 2014 Dale Jr. And then William Byron's doing like a 2013, 2012 Jeff Gordon. So
Yeah.
our four most iconic ones didn't even follow the theme,
Yeah.
quote unquote. So with the grassroots, they wanted people to throw back to like an old car of theirs or local.
And
series
that's put out
racing.
by NASCAR?
Yeah, but no one ever follows it.
They should stop doing that, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Make it a
pointless.
throwback
It's pointless.
Yeah.
I mean, if nobody's gonna follow it, I don't know what we're doing there.
Yeah.
But real quick, I just want to touch on things I don't like about Throwback Weekend. So number one, I don't like when they half-ass it.
Yeah.
So like I preferably want the font to be, if the number can't be the same, make the font the same.
100%.
At least make the colors the same.
Yep.
And then I hate when drivers throw back to themselves. Because
That
I
is
feel
kinda
like
dumb.
that the whole point to me of Throwback Weekend is nostalgia,
Yeah.
getting that buy-in. But when Corey LaJoy throws back to the last time he won a race in 2012 to
Yeah.
his ARCA car, well, who is that resonating with? Besides
Yes.
Corey LaJoy.
I'm a Corey
individually?
LaJoy fan.
I see that, but I can see the flip side of that when you have a dude like Kevin. Like, he could throw back to the 29, and that
Right.
would resonate with people.
But if Kevin Harvick threw back to his late model he ran when he was 17 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, nobody-
nobody
You
gives
should
a
have
shit.
to only throw back to cars
Yeah.
that you either raced in the Cup Series
No,
or
I agree.
not at all,
Yeah.
maybe.
But see, Joey Logano has thrown back to his quarter midget.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
Kyle Larson threw back to his go-kart.
Yeah.
And then Alex Bowman, nicest guy in the world, I get it. He threw back to his crew chief's late model car.
Yeah.
First off, most people don't even know who his crew chief is. It was Greg Ives at the time. So you're throwing back to somebody no one knows to a late model. That,
was
No,
the,
Zero.
was
Like-
the theme late models that year?
no, the theme was probably like 2000. You know what I mean? Like, the theme doesn't mean jack shit.
You think NASCAR in their corporate office is like, why does nobody listen to us?
Yeah.
Like, you know?
But I mean, I don't blame them because I
Yeah.
mean, you make a theme, and then you're gonna get the only thing helping us have good stuff now is nobody's following the theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So,
like showing up to a toga party wearing a pirate outfit.
Right? Yeah, but at least you did something.
Hey, I'm dressed up.
I am dressed
Yeah.
up.
So what? Just to close it out, that's kind of what I think. I don't like. I think there's multiple ways to make it better. What do you like? What's your favorite kind of throwbacks? What do you think they should do, or shouldn't do?
I literally think they should only throw back to cars that are iconic. You know, like that. It does suck when you are Aspire and you don't have an iconic car to throw back to. But to me, you can just pull one
Yeah,
from
like
somewhere
where
else.
Corey's thrown back to Alan Kowicki.
Yeah, yeah.
But what do you think about this? So Brad's doing it this year. Brad's throwing back to like a GT touring car like Toyota Supra.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
As a Ford,
No, just like it's not a NASCAR paint scheme.
I don't know. I think it. No, I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm
That's
getting at.
kinda- I feel like it has to be completely super iconic if it's not NASCAR.
Yeah.
Because one year Brad Keselowski threw back to John Force's Castrol car.
Okay.
And I'm like,
yeah. Yeah.
you can't complain with that.
Yeah.
But one year Joey Logano threw back to like an old Penske road racing car.
That's cool. That's
Okay.
okay. I mean, it's okay. It's
That's
okay.
just like the line
but
that I don't know where I stand on.
yes, it's definitely a gray area that you're like, I don't know. It depends. If they threw back to like a 410 sprint car that you'd been watching on Flow, you'd be like, that's super cool.
So
you know?
So Chase Briscoe threw back to a 410 that Tony did, and
Okay.
if I remember right, they like painted the headers on and Like, cause the headers come out.
Yeah, no way.
It was disgusting.
Okay.
It is so fucking dumb. It is nasty.
Okay. Well, again, but you see what I'm saying,
Yeah, I
though.
see
It's
what
like
you're saying,
if you're because we all know racing is a niche anyway, niche sport.
Yeah.
If you are thrown back to another niche sport,
Yeah.
it needs to be like the most famous
Right.
of
Otherwise,
that
it's
niche
just a
sport.
paint scheme.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No one knows.
But
Like,
is it-
go ahead.
Is it
I'm sorry.
okay if like you have a sponsor like Castrol and they're like, we'll do this throwback, but that's all we're doing because it's us? To me, I'm
Then
like,
you gotta take it.
hey,
Yeah.
I understand what you guys are saying, but honestly, man, if they're doing any kind of throwback at all, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Because like,
That's fair.
thanks for doing the throwback.
Yeah.
'Cause-
You're exactly on the right track. That's exactly what we want to see is throwbacks. We want to see them. So whatever you have to do to make it happen, yes. But I'm 100% with you that we should not throw back to Alex Bowman's crew chief's late model
Yeah.
car.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's stupid.
I mean, that's
Unless
great.
his
Everyone
sponsor was
knows
Ally. I'm like, all right.
yeah, I mean,
So what of the ones and I haven't looked at them all, I don't think. But what's the one that sticks out this year?
Larson.
Larson's. It's 100%
That's the best
Larson's
one,
car.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terry LeBonnet's car,
Oh my
man.
god! I'm just so glad they did that after you drew so much attention to saying his name wrong.
Yeah, I like to take a little credit in that.
Like, we gotta throw back so people. And the other people don't know how to say his name. They forgot
It's
about
been
Terry
that
Labonte.
long.
That's so funny.
But I am looking forward to Throwback Weekend.
Yes.
It's super fun.
So-
One thing, go ahead.
Who do we got? We got Hendrick. We got Brad. Is any of the Joe Gibbs guys doing throwbacks that I don't know about? Because I didn't think any of them were.
I know Denny's not.
Yeah,
Seabell's not. There was a picture on
Is
Twitter.
Truex doing one?
No, he usually doesn't.
Corey's doing one. You said.
So that's leaving Ty.
Corey's doing one.
Is Carson?
and Carson is throwing back. He has some like police sponsor.
Yeah.
And they made his car look like a 1950s police car.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I mean, that's
What's
kind of
the-
cool.
What's the buy-in on Throwback Weekend?
Dude, they're throwing back to
the
something.
grassroots, man, where they're
Grassroots.
moonshiners.
Yeah, I like that.
I
We're
think
fucking reaching for the stars.
I'm saying that's way closer than reaching than the
It's better.
Kellogg's car is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair
I
Yeah, it's
mean,
more
For me, the
grassroots,
only
yeah.
person that followed the theme was Corey, and his car doesn't even look like his ARCA car did.
Yeah,
Except it has the same font, and they put a stripe down the middle. But it's just a white car.
not gonna
So-
win. Corey top 10.
Put a bet right now.
I did look at it.
Please, yeah, plus $1 million.
plus
and a half.
1,800.
win?
Yeah.
What about top 10?
No, for top 10.
That's insane.
I might bet that, dude. He's not bad at Darlington. A couple of years ago when I went, he got a top 10.
Maybe at the Southern
I think,
500.
I think he got like 12. Yeah. No, look it up. Look it up.
Y'all both been to Darlington, so what do you think of Darlington?
Darlington's awesome.
You went to Throwback Weekend,
Yeah, I did.
specifically.
Yeah.
So what was that? Was there any advertising of?
Not really. Not at the track that you wouldn't
I
know
mean,
of.
I'm sure the track just feels like it's.
Yes, the whole experience, and
smells like
that was going to be
grandma's
my
house.
favorite memory. So, but I mean, dude, that was the first time I got to be on the track. I went to the pre-race and driver intros, and it is a surreal experience. Like just being when you walk through that tunnel, you're like, this has
Yeah.
been here a minute.
You had to walk through a tunnel?
Yeah,
Where?
on turns, on turn one. There's a tunnel.
I've never been there.
There's a tunnel.
Wait,
on
to
turn
just
one.
go down there for driver intros?
to walk through to get onto the track. They threw
They
us through
just,
a tunnel.
dude, they literally threw out these like steps at the start finish line. They were like, "Come on down there." That's what
Oh,
they did.
that's where we went back. Like
Okay.
after we did the whole driver intros and they cleared the track for the race and we go to our seats.
back up that
We
way?
went back up that
I
way.
didn't get to go through a tunnel. Now
Yeah, the tunnel was cool. I mean, it reminded me a lot of like when I went through the tunnel at like Daytona, and it's kind of like muraled up a little bit. They have
Yeah.
like pictures of all the iconic drivers
Oh,
that have
that's
won there,
cool. That's
and they
cool.
go through the years, and so you're walking down, and on both sides, you're like just seeing history.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
And so that to me, that is cool.
Yeah,
and
that's why it's a perfect place for Throwback Weekend.
100%.
There's so much
Because
history
there
there.
is so much history, but they just don't tap into it.
Yeah.
They don't.
They
The
don't.
track does, but track's owned by NASCAR, so they
Right.
They mess it up, dude. They mess it up. They just
Well, if you want to fix Throwback Weekend, just listen to us, and we'll
for real.
we'll get it
Seriously,
fixed up.
NASCAR.
Yeah,
I know you're watching,
yeah.
but no, that's a good overview. We'll move right in. Kansas recap. What a race!
Great race.
Literally from green flag to checkered flag. We'll just go real quick on our ratings. Start with you.
8-9.
Okay.
Yeah,
9-4.
9-4.
I was gonna say 9-5.
There we
So,
go.
I mean, that's-
I was a little low, but the one question that I did want to raise, but we can get into actually how good the racing was, like with the tires and
Wearing,
oh my
yeah.
gosh, it was so good. Being able to pass, running different lines for once.
Yeah.
We saw the dudes in the lead make the bottom work.
Yeah.
Make the bottom work, and they were literally losing no ground to the people on the top. Now I don't know
Well,
if
they were
that's
throwing
all.
slide jobs like it's
Yes.
road racing.
Yes, it was so good. Like, if every mile and a half is like that, take everything else off the schedule. For real. Because
Well,
that's how good it was.
Side story, I also heard that Kansas has a casino.
It does. yeah.
Right there, that would
It's
be a
owned
great
by,
trip.
That would be a great
great
It's
trip.
owned by.
We watch one of our friends lose all their money. Its name starts with an L. Gambling's dumb.
Yeah,
Loses
starts
it.
feeding the machine. That casino's owned. Who used to own Barstool? Penn.
Penn.
That casino's owned by
Penn
Penn.
Gaming.
Really?
Yeah, it's owned by Penn Gaming. But
Penn Gaming's taking a hit right now.
oh really?
Well, you know they sponsored ESPN Bet.
Yeah.
It's apparently not
Doing
doing good
good?
at all.
Oh, wow.
I don't
Yeah.
use ESPN Bet.
Exactly, no one does.
Yeah.
They tried to get back into the game. I don't know why they didn't stick with Barstool. Personally, I know this is way off topic, but
I
think
think
that-
All
there was a
everyone,
lot of
all of us
issues.
would have been like, we would have used Barstool.
Yeah.
You know, like over
But
FanDuel and
everybody
DraftKings.
worries about. To me, everybody worries about Barstool being like a risk.
Yeah,
But
that's
I think
exactly
But I
why.
think they're like risk proof.
I mean, dude, they're so literally they take the approach of any publicity is good publicity. So you can't at this point you cannot cancel Dave
Yeah.
Portnoy. He's
They
gonna
def-
say
they
what he
defy
wants.
all odds.
Yes,
Yeah.
they do because of people like us who don't care. We just
Yeah.
like what they do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just like what they do.
Yeah.
So
Not to get off topic, but the reason that I heard is because, like, on all their podcasts and stuff, like, they'd be like, hammer this bet, hammer.
Yeah.
And then it would lose, and then Penn's like, we're kind of promoting people.
That's weird because now on the NASCAR one, before they do the bet or after they do the bets, they're like, "Please don't tell us we are not professionals." Like it's like a weird caveat.
It's a
every time.
little disclaimer on those
Yeah,
medicine
yeah.
commercials. It's like, you may die.
it is weird though, but like I don't know how much NBA. I know you haven't really watched
Zero.
any NBA.
Yeah.
I know
but-
ball.
Yeah, I know you know ball, but I mean,
ball.
have you been watching the playoffs?
I have to keep up.
Well, FanDuel is like the #1 sponsor of NBA, like literally across the board. And so, like Charles and
Jack?
no, not Shaq in particular. What's the other guy's
The
name
old
on
man?
that? The older guy. No, not the white guy. The other black guy. That's I can't remember
Chuck?
his name. I'm so sorry. No,
No, Chuck's the
Charles.
black guy.
the smaller guy.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so they like do these boosted bets through FanDuel,
Yeah.
and so literally Chuck picks a like, hey, we think Luka is going to score 30 points tonight, and FanDuel has it at say minus 150. We boost it to plus 150. And so they will do that, but to me, that's what Barstool could have done and been like that's to me. How does FanDuel get away with it, but Barstool couldn't get away with it?
I don't know if you've ever listened to Big Cat's gambling advice, but it always misses.
Yes, but I think that's your own risk.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're listening to me, we're just having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
true, yeah.
like there's you can find all types of people that aren't affiliated with sports books that put out bets all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, what? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow. But we can get back on topic. So.
No, you're good. I mean, I honestly didn't have a ton to say because I mean, there's nothing to bitch about.
Yeah, there's not.
I mean, I think if we're gonna close on anything, just to be a little bit to discuss something other people haven't, I think y'all both had something to say about like the camera and the finish and maybe how that could have been a little bit better.
Yes. So I'll start this because we've had discussions about how NASCAR is shady, and I think this plays into their shadiness for no reason. They didn't want to show us the timing lines, like when we first saw the thing, they're just literally going off the start finish line, which we can clearly see is all messed up.
Yeah.
Okay. We should not go off that.
Yeah.
I think everyone's in agreement. So we should not go off a painted line on the track that fades and we run over for 400 miles twice a year sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone's in agreement with that. But why does NASCAR keep so close to the vest of where these timing lines are, how are they used, and stuff like that? It's not like anyone's going to copy it. It's not like you can do something that irritates their timing line.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, why don't they put it in the rule book? Like, spell it out. Here's how we actually track the finish. No matter if it's a photo or if you're leading by 3 seconds. When you cross this timing line, that's when you win.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's annoying that because we don't even know how many timing lines they have around. They could have 6.
I have no
They
clue.
could have 30. They could have 55. We do not know. You can't tell me they're that expensive. And who cares if they are?
Yeah.
Put them there. They're exactly like what your garage door does. They're 2 lasers.
Yeah.
They just link up, and when the car passes them, it blips.
Yeah.
It's like an arcade game. It's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
So I just think they should be more open about that stuff, so we don't draw these awful conclusions.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like what? Again, I know Larson was the winner, but say it was Denny and it was the opposite. Like you're just making people.
That's a good point, because-
Want to have conspiracies about it. Just put it all out there, and then you're like, hey, we can't say anything. This is how we do it week in and week out.
Yeah.
Consistency. That's my big point.
I think they learned their lesson because we've never had a finish this close. And I think they just were like, oh, it's just how we do it. Like, it is what it is. And then this
They're
happened,
just
and now
always
they're like,
behind it.
yeah, that's actually how we do it. And
Yeah.
then now they're doing it because I feel like now we know because there's been a lot of talk about it. But I think it's just one of those things where it's like, well, we didn't think about talking. Like, that's how we've been doing it. But normally, car drives through on TV. Besides this year with Atlanta. And I know there was the Darlington race with Ricky Craven. But besides that, there's really not been.
No, I mean, it's a very, very odd scenario that happened.
Yeah.
But to me, they're just with all the money that's involved, you cannot tell me this has not been brought up in some type of board meeting.
No, well,
Like,
what's
through the
crazy-
history.
Yeah.
Like,
What's crazy is they said it was the same camera system they use at the Kentucky Derby.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And I've been a fan my whole life, and I never knew that they had the same.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know
system.
that
I mean,
I didn't know about all
that
those
seems like
cameras.
something you should like brag about, maybe.
100%.
If not, just educate the fans.
Also, it feels like the Kentucky Derbies has to be more complex because the horse's head could be anywhere. It's not just a single line.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
it's probably not
Well,
a
they're
single
running
line in
35
NASCAR.
miles
They draw.
Yeah, but at the same time, though,
They're close.
I mean that photo finish at the Derby this weekend was close.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
so close.
Shout out Mystic Dan.
Yeah, yeah. Dave Portnoy picked Mystic Dan talking about Marcel.
But no, I mean it was. I'm like Colby. I think they learned their lesson, but it's like
Now we all know that there is a line.
Is that not the most NASCAR thing ever? It's like, oh, we fucked up, but now we'll do it right.
Yeah,
We just have
it
to learn-
is the
we
most
have to learn
NASCAR thing.
everything the hard way.
Well, that's why I hope there's another photo finish. Maybe not hundredths of a second, but
Yeah.
Maybe
you
this
know,
But dude, I don't
yeah.
know this car is obviously producing those kind of finishes, so they better
better figure it
tighten
out.
up. I don't know why. I know we don't necessarily go off that line, but before the race starts, why can't we lay down a bright orange line where the actual line is?
Exactly like what they did at Atlanta, which
Yeah.
I think is cool. They have the old checkered finish line, which is awesome, iconic, but then they have a yellow line
Right.
straight through the middle
Official.
of it. That's official.
Yeah.
And you have to get to that line, and you can see that in the photo finish to where you're not like, I don't know,
Yeah.
you know.
Whoever painted that Kansas line was like $450 on a Friday.
100%, yeah.
And
the
they're already
whole,
like texting their buddies like,
Yeah.
I'll meet you at the bar in 30 minutes.
yeah,
They're thinking about that Buffalo machine at the casino. Buffalo. Hear it just as you're painting.
You literally
She's
cannot
hot.
be so lazy to paint the top of the track and not go to the apron if it's all open. You know,
Yeah, I don't know what they did not use a stencil.
They didn't use nothing.
Hell
Yeah.
no. That's free hand,
The
baby.
T at Tennessee's painted better than that.
Right.
Yeah.
They have a stencil.
Yeah.
They have a
So,
stencil because it's
I
a
don't
big
know.
deal.
I understand, like, stuff fades, but you can't tell me you can't go throw on some Scotch tape on the ground and put a white line down there 30 minutes before the race starts.
I'd do it if they need it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It would take you 30 minutes if that. If you had 3 people to put down a line of tape and get just literally just a spray can and just spray it down. Yeah, maybe it would rubber up. We don't know, but that'd be better than the wonky line that they gave us.
Let's find out.
Yeah. So
hopefully they fix it. So obviously there was good battles for the lead all through the race.
Yes.
There was strategy, power wear.
Denny won a stage.
Denny won a stage, yeah, and Denny Truex would have won if they hadn't had the. And the green white checkered really didn't piss me off too much because it was legitimate.
It was.
And also, I feel like we were still going to get maybe not that close of a finish, but we were still going to get side by side racing for the win.
Yes.
And so I was like, whatever, it is what it is. But the one thing I wanted to close on, just because everybody's talked about this race, I think, but I feel like everybody's picking Buescher apart on what he could have done different. But, and I will say, even as a Kyle Larson fan, if Larson wouldn't have doored the fuck out of him twice, I mean, he would have won. So everyone's like, well, why would you give Larson the top? It's like, well, he was still faster.
He was, yeah.
Until Larson was like, shit.
I think that goes back to what we've said about Corey in these situations. You have to be there to know.
Yeah,
like, he's won several
yeah.
races, but he's not been there that consistently to be like, hey, if I get doored twice, I might want to door him back.
Or at a 4, step him in the fence first.
Yes.
Or just make that gap closer to where Larson had a
Larson drove all the way down the track to get him. Yeah.
I mean, which is fine.
Yes.
I mean, and Buescher wasn't mad about it either, but I feel like everyone's focusing on, like, why did you let Larson have the top? And it was like, well, Buescher was still faster.
Yeah. He had no reason to.
Yeah, he had no reason to.
Yeah, he had no reason to. So.
Just another example of dirty Hendrick. Just dirty Hendrick.
That's what sucks, too. And earlier you were talking about Denny. On his podcast, his co-host was like, imagine the alternate reality where they put Buescher as the winner, and then they're like, oh, wait, Denny Hamlin won.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, people would have been so mad.
On fire.
I would have had to been on Twitter defending.
I mean, it would have been, though, and that's the issues that we have to fix so no one can say otherwise. The winner's the winner.
The winner is the winner.
Yeah, that's what we want. So.
Nice. Anything more on recap, or y'all want to move to standouts?
Last thing I want to say is Kansas should get 1 championship date.
Okay. Well, I want you to buy a ticket for mid-November to go watch racing.
You know what? I know this has been brought up other places, but we've been to Neyland when it's snowing. We've been to Neyland when it's raining. It's the championship race. If your fans won't show up when it's a little cold to watch the championship, I think your fans suck.
I think a little cold is fine. I think it's like the actual fear of snow. Like, I mean, because it doesn't matter. Like, imagine if not only did they have to clear,
get a plow. We got Titans.
You get a plow. You get a plow, and then you're hoping, and that kind of leads into what the last thing I wanted to talk about is, like, do we think the rain delay helped the race?
I think it does, and I've said this forever. We need to have more races that start in the daytime and go to night.
Yes.
Because it's more variability.
Completely changed.
It's more variability of how you set your car up and adjust on it as it goes.
I think it would have been a completely different finish if we would have started that race at 3 o'clock.
Denny would have won.
I mean, seriously, I think Truex would have won.
Every week. That's what's crazy.
Yeah, would have. I mean, all the Toyotas would have dominated even more.
Yeah.
You know, because you can't go to the track and assume that, hey, we're going to race to 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. Yeah. You have to assume that we're going to be done by 6. Yeah. You know, and you have to set your car up that way. So when you're delayed 3 hours, I'm pretty sure you can't touch it, can you?
No, you can't. And
that's do anything.
That's the other part of it too, is how smart they are now. The more you can throw at them last minute.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the argument for, like, either no practice or less practice. Is let's stop giving them tools in the toolbox.
Yes.
So it's, I mean, they're so smart.
Oh,
if you can throw them a curveball last minute, you're going to get good racing.
Yes, you are. So,
do you have one more thing?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, didn't mean to trample on you there.
Trample? What are you talking about?
I thought you were about to say something. No. All right, we'll go on to standouts. Didn't have too many. Mostly, I want to talk some silly season stuff. Oh my goodness!
You're all good, buddy. You didn't trample on me one time.
Oh, thank you for that. That was great. I'll be feeling that all day. So we do this thing here, and Colby knows about it. Our resident Corey LaJoy apologist. Corey LaJoy versus Carson. It is now 8 Carson for Corey LaJoy.
Ooh.
I just want to hear Colby's take on it.
I think Zane Smith's been really holding Corey LaJoy back. If they would just go to 2 cars, because I think
That's not going to happen.
Carson's got the energy right now.
And talent.
The
and
energy. Carson has
and
the
the same
energy.
car.
He's got the fire around there. He's new. You got that new fire.
By
the way, both 0 wins. So
I will say, though, Carson Hocevar has ran in the top 10 more than Corey has all year. He was in the top 10 at Kansas this week.
He was.
Okay, but
Yeah.
who should have more fire? The guy that's been in Cup for almost 10 years.
That's a low-lit fire, also. The new guy coming in. When do you feel most excited to start a job? Your first day? Yeah, or when you've been at a job for 10 years?
What about the guy that's been saying for years, as long as I have good equipment?
Right now, Carson's got the good equipment. If somebody would just give Corey LaJoy a chance.
Carson's 22nd. I think Carson's 22nd in points, and Corey is 30th.
Whoa.
30th.
He's 30th in points.
Yeah, dude. I'm not making it
Corey
up.
LaJoy, if you're watching this, you got to pick it up, dude. It's getting very hard to defend
Corey
you.
LaJoy's too busy prepping for his podcast and not looking at data and
As we're on a
S&P.
podcast.
Right. Well, we're not professional race car drivers.
That's true. I'm
Neither
just
is
a
Corey
professional
LaJoy.
fantasy player.
But how do you think, as a Corey LaJoy apologist once again, how do you think this is going to end up? We're 12 races in, and Carson has twice as many finishes.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I don't know the dynamic in the Spire garage, but if it ends the way that it is right now, whatever resources, energy that Spire has, if it is more on Corey right now, we're speculating, it's going to go to Carson at the end of this season. And then, I hate to say this, Corey, if you're watching, but I think he's got one more season after this at Spire, and especially with McDowell coming in, he's in trouble. I don't think he's on the hot seat right now because he's started with Spire, like truthfully, but this season sucks, and then next season he sucks.
It's not only does
You're
next
dumb
season
if you
stuff,
don't let him
if
go.
Michael McDowell comes in there first year and literally God forbid he makes the playoffs. If he makes the playoffs, he could. We've seen Michael McDowell make the playoffs in that car. He's going to be amazing at road courses.
Yeah.
He knows how to get around to oval. I mean,
And I think
he's going to be
Carson.
fine.
I think Carson has been showing that Spire isn't as at least this year, right? Like maybe they made a big investment this year, but I think Spire is further ahead on ovals than Front Row Motorsports is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
yeah.
even Corey LaJoy qualified. Was it 4th at COTA?
Yeah.
So
really
put Michael McDowell in a car that can qualify 4th at COTA, and he can probably win in that car.
He's not going to miss the first turn like
No,
Corey.
exactly.
Yeah.
He's not going to wreck himself or other people.
Even
But-
though Corey was
And
first
the only thing that ever slows Michael McDowell down in those road courses is mechanical failures.
Right,
Because
yeah.
I've lost a lot of money on Michael McDowell and him mechanical failing, losing ass. Never mind. But, I mean, we haven't seen that out of the Spire cars. Now, again, we can maybe throw that's the way Michael McDowell drives and he pushes his equipment too hard and something happens. But and we haven't seen that, but we consistently see that out of that team of Michael McDowell. Literally blowing something
or
happens.
steering failure
Just
or
steering
something.
failure, and it's a wiring issue to where his alternator ain't working. Simple stuff that's causing him to literally just DNF races.
Yeah.
And moving into silly season, we touched on it already. So Front Row Motorsports announced they had like a first tier. They're moving to a tier 1 partnership with Ford.
Mm-hmm.
So Michael McDowell is switching from a team he's been with forever
Yeah.
and built and is the leader. And it's not like he's mad at him, right?
No.
But there's obviously, to me, there's something cooking at Spire
Yes.
that's making him switch. And we know Spire is notorious for paying people well.
Yep.
They just throw money around. So I don't know if this is a money move or if there's something that we don't know. Maybe a new manufacturer coming in. I've always thought Spire's on that track of the only way they can have a chance to be a key partner with anybody is a new manufacturer comes in and Spire becomes the flagship Honda or Dodge, whoever comes in.
Yeah.
Spire's going to make that sales pitch of look how much money we've spent. We put $40 million on one charter alone.
Yeah.
Like, make us your team.
I mean, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Colby, but the only way that they do become that is they're not going to do it with Chevy.
No.
There's too many teams.
Yeah.
There's too many teams
Yeah.
in front of them.
Yeah.
Hendrick, Trackhouse, RCR. Like those are going to be the ones that Chevy goes for, and
Yeah.
they would literally have to do something
Well,
spectacular.
they turned
to-
Chevy turned Jimmy Johnson down to be a key partner.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So he's either going to have to, and I don't even think he can jump ship. They can jump ship to a Toyota at this
No.
point. Not with JGR and not with 2311.
Yeah, and,
I mean,
and Legacy now.
yeah, with Legacy now. So they're out. You're exactly right. Is that they are going to have to become a premier partner with any manufacturer. It's going to have to be a new one.
Yeah.
And Honda is the one that's like kind of
But
interested.
it's been talked about for
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah. But I mean,
Yeah, I think the problem with that is like you've heard credible people say in the sport that a new manufacturer coming in is like years away, even now.
Yeah.
I think it might be more of the fact that Front Row Motorsports is kind of content in a way. And then I think Spire is like, we're throwing money at this thing left and right. We're trying to get the best stuff. And Michael McDowell's like, am I going to stay with the same old girl that's not doing much? Or am I going to stay with this girl that's
Might pick up the check every now and then.
might pick up the bill? And he's like, well, I can probably get paid more. Like,
Yeah,
and
I
then
think he will.
we're getting good engineers. We're getting the best sims. We're getting we're trying.
That's such
And
a good point.
And he's like, well, hell, if I'm ever going to win a championship, because he's not a championship contender right now.
Not right now, no.
But he's like, in his mind, he's like, man, if I'm ever going to do this, it's got to be with somebody that's working their ass off like
You're
I am.
exactly right, because he's a round of 12 playoff guy.
Yeah.
In that car he is now,
Yeah.
I would not
He's
be
good
surprised.
at road courses.
I would not be surprised if he made the round of 12. You'd be like, okay, I mean, yes, he would have to perform well,
Yeah.
and maybe a little bit better than normal, but you throw him in the Spire car that's clearly shown some speed with Carson,
Yeah.
he may turn into a round of 8 guy. You get to the round of 8, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. It takes a couple blown tires by some
Exactly.
competitors.
It literally, all you have to do is beat Denny Hamlin in the round of 8. Next thing you know, you're winning.
But so one thing I was looking up while you were talking, he's 39 years old,
Yeah.
which we know is the statistical peak. So I mean, this is
it's
going.
make or break.
It's going for broke. I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not get paid while you're good?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have
gotta
a leg
retire.
to stand on as far as talks go in your contract. You're like, hey, I'm racing good.
Yeah.
You guys
This
got good
is the time
cars.
to pay me. I'm 39.
Yes. I'm 39.
Yeah.
So
I got grandchildren.
So and real quick, SHR there was talks last year of them selling charters. Then it said they're maybe going to sell 2 charters. A new report came out I think yesterday that potentially the whole building and everything's for sale.
yeah.
So that we're talking about if that happens, 4 people going somewhere, 4 charters going somewhere.
2 decent people going somewhere.
Yeah, and
like
4,
to me.
and 4 charters going somewhere.
It's going to
Yeah.
turn into a Spirit Halloween, man.
But
I
it's
mean-
just like who buys those? Does a new team come in?
So Dale Jr.
I mean,
I
I
don't
think
think
I
so.
think you can put if the whole team dissolves, I think there's no reason that Trackhouse doesn't buy 2 of them. Personally,
That's a good
they're
point.
already going to buy 1.
Well, they've got Zane and SVG under contract.
Yeah, so
But
they're
like-
going to get
but
2.
Like
Yeah.
after this year, do they just say, okay, we made a bad investment in Zane?
I don't think so.
put your money
I don't think so. I think what do we expect out of a rookie?
Carson's a rookie.
Carson is a rookie.
It's not helping his case.
I
is
did-
all-
it's
that's all
not-
I'm
it's
saying.
not
I
helping
think
his
Carson's
case.
car is paid attention more than Zane's.
I wouldn't say that. I do think Carson is better
'Cause he's
but then
full-time at
again-
Spire.
Then again, you can't tell me that people at Hendrick are worried about Chase Elliott.
No.
Chase Elliott, what 4 years? 3 years
3
without
years.
a
Yeah, but
3
he
years
still made
without
the
a win.
playoffs every year.
That's true.
And
he
then
did make the
Zane's
playoffs.
car, to your point, Colby, from what I understand, Zane's car is a Trackhouse prepared car. So that car comes from Trackhouse and to the track.
Do you think
So that car should be better than.
Do you think
Corey
that
Carson's
Trackhouse is
car.
paying as much attention to that car as it is Chastain's or even Suarez's?
It's in their best interest to.
Well, they're probably paying Chastain and Suarez a lot more money, so they're probably and they probably got more sponsor money behind them, and then they're than Zane Smith, and they're like, we got to make this car a little bit better. Spencer Austin, you're the best crew chiefs on there. Bill down the road, who we just got, you're on Zane's car.
I
Probably.
can see that. I can also. What team meetings is he in? Is he in the
Probably Trackhouse. Well, see the thing.
See,
with,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. Inspire. The other two Spire guys might be in the Trackhouse meeting.
Exactly.
That's the shit we don't know that I would love to know.
Yeah. It's like, are we putting Zane at a disadvantage because it's such an odd situation? Like, I don't know if this has ever happened before, particularly. Like a car that's actually a Spire car, but on a lease from a different team.
That shows you how
there's
expensive
a lot.
this stuff
There's a
is,
lot
man.
of things going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I don't think he's hanging out with Ross and Daniel Suarez. You know what I mean?
No.
I don't. Even though it's a Trackhouse prepared car, I don't think he has the. I mean, he probably can walk into their building, but at the same time, why would he do that when he's hanging out with Carson and Corey?
If I understand correctly, he's a Trackhouse employee, not a Spire employee.
It's
so weird.
It is. That's what I'm
weird,
saying.
though.
So like, we don't know how he would be if he was on a team he's there every day in the building.
Right.
Yeah.
Like his whole thing is so variable. At the end of the year, it's going to change. Why get attached to anybody?
Yeah.
You know.
And maybe this was their plan all along to just put him in there for a year. It doesn't make a shit what you do.
Exactly. They don't
Because
care.
we're going to get you over to Trackhouse anyway.
Yes. Like they don't. Hey, you need to finish 14 points. They don't
Yeah.
care.
No, they don't care. Just
Exactly.
get log laps.
Exactly.
And bring a notebook.
So
when
we
you
don't
get
know
there.
that. We don't know what's in his mindset. Is he just literally just trying to race with the guys back there and do the best that he can and stay out of everyone's way? Because he's done good at that. He's not a weapon like Carson.
No.
You know, he's
not
staying
making
out of
a-
everyone's
he's not
way.
really making
Is he
the
just a
news.
filler until Trackhouse can afford to do it full time themselves and get a good driver?
100%. That's what I think
That's
it
what it
is.
seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think it boils down to. Is like when he comes over, I'm not saying he's going to make the playoffs, which would kind of be a letdown for a Trackhouse car, but I mean, again,
Daniel
give
Suarez
him.
didn't.
Yeah, so you give him 3 years.
Ross hasn't won.
I mean, yeah, but he's made the playoffs. He's made the Final Four.
Yeah.
I'm talking about this year.
Yeah, no, this year. Yeah, this year's rough for
Nobody
Ross.
but JGR and Hendrick have won this year.
Yeah.
Except for
Suarez.
Trackhouse.
Yeah, Suarez won.
And then one more.
Mr. Will
There's
Watt.
one more.
There was.
I think there's one more.
No.
Reddick.
Reddick.
Reddick
Yeah,
was 23-11.
yeah, 23-11.
I
Yeah.
remember that, brother. Yeah.
So if SHR does dissolve or sell out, that's so many people, so many charters. You got to think it's not just a given that all 4 of those guys end up at a ride. In my mind, I feel like it's iffy if Barry or Priest get picked up.
Ooh.
Because you got guys coming up.
Trace Briscoe gets picked up before Josh Berry?
Man,
He's
I
a
would
cup
pick-
winner.
I would pick up
He's a
Briscoe
cup
over
winner.
Barry.
Dude, I think your upside on Josh Berry's way higher than it is Briscoe.
I think you are. I think you're being real silly about this.
You think Josh Berry deserves to get picked up more than Chase Briscoe?
Briscoe's supposed to be the main guy right now, and he's not.
He's second best.
He's LaJoyan. He's second best. 4 and 8. You forget your own
I mean,
stat.
I don't know. That would be something interesting to look at. And so you're saying Priest and Barry. So you're
I
saying
don't
Noah
think-
has done
okay.
something to get picked up?
Dale
I like
Jr.
Noah
Dale
too.
Jr.
Noah's got
supports.
multiple top 10s. He just finished
He
top
does.
10
He
again.
does have
Noah's
multiple top
safe.
10.
I'm not
Yeah.
shitting on Barry. Like he's new, right?
Yeah.
Right. I think it's not his fault if he doesn't get picked up. That's circumstances. Ryan Priest has kind of fucked himself.
No, yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, Priest
I
is
think
gone.
we can all agree he's on the chopping block. He's
and
gone.
I think he's a good driver. I just don't think he's a cup driver.
No, he could go win in Xfinity.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
he needs to do what
modifies
Jimmy
where he
Johnson
came
needs to
from.
do.
Sorry,
You
Bill
know.
Custer.
Yeah, he's
Did you
exactly
say what
Exactly.
Jimmy Johnson needs to do? Go
Yes.
to Xfinity?
I
Yes.
think Jimmy Johnson would tear up Xfinity.
I think Jimmy Johnson would dominate Xfinity.
Yes, that's what I'm
we're
saying.
all saying the same
I
thing.
know, but like it would
Where is
be
your outrage coming from?
well, because that would be ridiculous if Jimmy Johnson would do Xfinity.
No, it wouldn't.
More ridiculous
he would
than-
win all the
more-
races.
more-
Okay, good for him.
What's
But
more
why
ridiculous?
would he go play in the minor leagues?
Why the fuck is he in the next gen car wrecking every week?
Yeah.
What's more ridiculous, Colby?
I know, but it's Jimmy Johnson. He can do whatever he wants.
No, he
Johnson
needs to do
deserves
exactly
be
what
in
Junior
Mr.
does.
I don't care
He's
if he
time
goes.
for all-time championships. He can go run whatever he wants
I don't
to go
care if
run.
Jimmy Johnson goes to the Wild Woody in Gatlinburg. He deserves to win.
He would
understand
still
what I'm
wreck. You see us right hooking Jimmy Johnson. You know?
He gets out of Amos and just.
Just,
No, I'm just saying. I think that's such a side note, but I agree with Spencer. Like, just Jimmy Johnson, please just win something.
Yeah.
And make me not be so
Make
sad.
me want to actually cheer for you.
it is pretty depressing.
you can't
Why
get
do I-
behind a dude that's racing 32nd and then spinning out because someone
Yeah.
rear ends you.
Why do I feel more disappointed in Jimmy Johnson's next gen experience than he does?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I feel so sad. For
There's
him.
always a point when you're picking your fantasy lineup when you know Jimmy Johnson's racing, and you're like, no. You're like, nah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
This is like a storybook, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
No, it never is.
It's never storybook. Okay, but yeah, I'm interested to see silly season. It's gonna get because if they sell, I mean that's. I legitimately think that's 4 charters that will definitely move around, but I don't think that's 4 drivers that stay in Cup,
100%. Yeah.
which is weird.
It is weird.
It's so weird.
It is weird. It'll be different. I mean, I could definitely see Barry being picked up at Legacy. I mean,
But see, then they have to buy one of the charters.
they would. Yeah, but I mean,
And what are the charters going to go for? Because there's no charter agreement that's been agreed on yet.
you're right.
I think that's going to get out of hand, and then we're going to look back and be like, Spire paid $40 million for a charter that's worth nothing.
I mean, I still see that Spire not even getting in on the bidding for that charter because 2 of them are going to go to Trackhouse and 2 of them are going to go to 2311.
Probably.
I
And see,
mean-
and I don't know what deal. I almost think that like this deal they have with Zane is like somehow they're working into buying that charter,
Yes.
letting Zane drive in that.
Straight from Spire.
Yeah.
So which would put Spire back on the market to buy another one, but then that would take Trackhouse out of buying one of the other 4. So, you know, I
Unless they
don't
want to
see
go to 4 cars.
Yeah, I don't see Spire going to a 4-car team personally.
Unless they know something we don't about another manufacturer coming in.
You're
I
right.
don't know,
You're
not
right.
to depress y'all or really go to another level. So Elton Sawyer, director of competition, was on Dale Jr. Download.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about new manufacturers coming in. He said there's not a single new manufacturer coming in that wants to build a pushrod V8 engine. Wow. And a single tier. Kobe doesn't understand that, but a single tier.
I get it.
Came to,
I drive a pushrod V6.
I think yours is overhead cam.
Whatever.
I'm like
I don't even know who
100%
Cam
Yeah,
is.
it probably is.
But
As new as it
anyway,
is,
the
yeah.
point is, like, all these manufacturers are probably wanting overhead cam hybrid technology.
Yeah.
The only pushrod V8s on the market right now, I think, are GM and Dodge.
Dodge, yeah.
Because even
Ford
Ford's
doesn't do
Ford's
one.
is all overhead cam.
Yep.
Even their trucks are overhead cam with turbos.
Turbos. They put V6 turbos in every
maybe
single
their
truck.
maybe their diesels are still pushrod,
I don't know.
they
You have to
have
talk
to
to
be.
Power Stroke.
but like
which
that
is-
doesn't relate to what we're talking about
No,
either. So
no, it doesn't.
it's very depressing, but I think that's the world we live in.
Yeah.
So
But, I mean, completely off topic, but kind of going on what you said, if those hybrid engines that you showed me, those V8, I don't even know what cars
the
they were
IMSA
in.
cars,
The IMSA
yeah,
cars.
the prototypes.
Those sounded
Yes.
absolutely awesome. And so if they do switch to a hybrid vehicle, I want to vote that one.
Well, what they're saying is so all the hybrid technology would go in the transaxle,
Yes.
which
Okay.
and I think that's kind of the reason they haven't messed around with the gearing and the shifting is because they're like, we're not gonna change this transaxle if we're getting ready to put a
Hybrid.
electric motor in it.
Yeah.
So you would still have engines that have 670 horsepower, and then you'd have another 200 to 300 horsepower in that electric engine. And that's the only way you're going to get fans to buy in.
That you would, though.
Because the only way you can get these rednecks to be like, I'm okay with hybrid, is if you're like, well, it's going to be 900 horsepower.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's all right.
That's all right.
Yeah.
My old lady drives a hybrid.
So,
Best Corolla we were bought.
But all right, well, we've spent enough time on that. Let's let Spencer take the floor here. Where are we sitting on Drop the Game?
so as you guys, if you listened to the last episode, we lost everything, but instead of losing our normal 3 units, we only lost 2.5 because I put a bet on Eric Jones, and Eric Jones did
driving.
No, I wish you would have listened last week. So he's doing his bets, and he was like, and the last one I got is on Eric Jones, and I go, his back's broken.
Hey, his back was broken,
He did
but
get
he was
cleared.
cleared to
He was
race.
cleared.
He was
Yeah.
cleared to race, so I may have had something there. But anyway, I got voided, so I got my half a unit back. So now we're
would've
just
missed anyway.
So now
Eric
we were.
Jones is what you're telling the people?
Yeah, Eric Jones. Carson looked good for a while. You have to give me that. He
He
did.
was in 10th. LaJoy was in 11th at one point.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I think Carson had he corded a tire.
Yeah, he
Had
corded a
two.
tire, but he was there. So it literally with like 60 laps to go, I looked decent on that, and that would have been the big win of the week. But I'd actually I know we talked about moving that half a unit somewhere, but I didn't move it anywhere. So that's how it went. So we lost 2.5 units last week. This week I'm gonna ride the hot hand. I think he's gonna be good. Chris Busher, top 10. He's decent at Darlington. He's had top 10 finishes ever before. He's finished third there in the last 6 races. So he is minus 110. So pretty, yeah, kind of a value pick there. So I put a whole unit on Chris Busher, top 10. And then my other unit, and then I'll get into my half units. A team that needs to just be more consistent, and that's Ross. We know they have speed. I mean, he didn't win the pole, or yeah, he did win the pole at Kansas City. No, Seabell won the pole, but he qualified second there, and just didn't hang on to it. However it was, so he's minus 200. So we need
10?
for a top 10, but we need to win that one. I feel like that's safe. He can kind of lug around there and still be good. He's been good there before. He has 2 top 5s there, I think.
Okay.
So
You got a full unit on that?
full unit on that. And then so for my last unit, I split it up, and I went with a dude that wants to win probably more than Chris Busher does, sadly, and that's Truex. Yeah, Truex. The Toyotas have been great. He's plus 650 to win.
Whoa.
Yeah. So he that would be a big, especially if we hit the winner in our 2 top 10s. That throws us right back around, and you know I love digging out of a hole, baby. Parlay it. Yeah.
That's a good win bet. I can't believe they got him at plus 650.
Plus 650. And hopefully he qualifies well, top 5, and that goes down, and you're making free money right now. So
Yeah.
and then to cover that, to hedge it, because if I mean, to me, the Toyotas, if a Toyota wins, it's going to be Truex or probably Denny Hamlin. I mean, yeah, it's going to be.
What's he like, plus 350 to win?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's around
He's
plus
got
300.
FanDuel pulled up on his
Well, I
phone.
got my bets pulled up.
But yeah, that's what he's sitting at. And then to kind of cover that, I put winning manufacturer Chevrolet plus 130. I mean, William Byron's been good there.
Yeah.
Larson's really good there. I mean,
they might rig it for Chase.
they might rig it for Chase. You never know. Who knows when there's 20 laps to go and there's debris on the track and they have a green-white checkered for the win. So I don't think Chevy's a bad pick. Plus 130. The Toyotas was a little low at like plus 100, and I was like, I don't know. I just feel like you have more opportunity with the Chevys. I mean, you do. I don't see Ty getting a win. The only other Toyota I could see is maybe Tyler Reddick. Maybe he has one there. But I think he won.
Eric Jones.
Yeah, Eric Jones has one there, but that's been
What is Storybook?
dude. I had him in my top 10, but I couldn't do it. First race back.
I feel like his back must not be that bad if he was cleared after 1 week. So maybe he won't have the same problems like Bowman did.
Maybe, but then again, he could. If he's cleared and he's like, I don't know. I saw an interview with J.B. Mooney, the bull rider,
Yeah.
and he was talking about it. He was like, people just say I'm a tough son of a bitch, and he was like, that's just what my dad instilled to me. He was like, if you get off that bull and you don't have 2 broken legs, then you need to walk off that arena. And I was like, okay. And he was like, even if I do have 2 broken legs, I'm crawling out of that arena. I was like, well, maybe that's what Eric Jones has, but I ain't betting on it. That was his words. He was like, if I have 2 broken legs, I'm crawling out of there. And I was like, and that is probably the best bull rider we'll ever see in our time.
Right, yeah.
So,
Might relate to Eric Jones.
no. but yeah, so that's my picks this week, and hopefully we get out of the hole. Let's not go 4-0 again,
you
or
were
0-4.
Before Colby says what he's got, what are we now? Down.
We're down 7.
There's somebody out there who can't pay the mortgages.
Yeah, there's somebody that's their unit's $100 and we're fucking hard.
Until this week.
I only did half units on everything because NASCAR is hard to bet on.
It is.
I have Chase Elliott, top 5 finish at plus 175.
Okay.
So the past 2 Darlington races, he's got a top 10 or better. And, man, he's just been so consistent here lately.
He's been hot.
It's like Chase Elliott. It's kind of bad.
I just honestly feel, though, the only bad thing, I feel like he's pulling a Bowman and kind of backing into these good finishes. Like, he's not qualifying well. You can't tell me that he was a top 5 car all day, yet he finished 3rd.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the only thing that's like, when is that luck going to kind of run out? But at the same time,
He's
it may not.
He's
It may
driving
not
the
run
Dale
out.
Jr. paint scheme, and I just don't think Rick Hendrick's going to let him finish bad. I know that sounds like a little NASCAR conspiracy.
Slight tangent here. William Byron just won Rick Hendrick's first Daytona 500 since 2014. Why is William Byron not running the 2014 Throwback?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Because he doesn't have a plane, dude.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. It's just
second
horseshit.
Second pick is also on Chase Elliott. I'm kind of fading Ross Chastain a little bit. It's Chastain versus Elliott matchup. I chose Elliott minus 106.
We can still be friends on that.
Yeah.
I mean, Ross can finish 8th and Chase can finish 3rd. I mean, it don't matter.
It's
to me.
honestly because of the Dale Jr. paint scheme.
I mean,
Listen, and I'm kind of buying into NASCAR conspiracy when I do this.
You called it. You called it at Martinsville.
I
mean, storybook finish.
Last thing I got, Brad Keselowski versus Kyle Busch. I got Brad.
Okay.
Kyle Busch, he's great, but the past couple years, I feel like he's kind of screwed himself. I don't know the stats on that, but I just feel like he hasn't finished well at Darlington the past couple of years.
No, but in 2018, he won 3 races in a row, which is wild. I mean, we think about Brad now, and one of them was the Southern 500.
500, yeah.
So, and the other one was
But then again, that goes into kind of what we were talking about at Kansas. This track is going to race completely different in the fall than in the spring. Like yes, it's the same track, but I guarantee it's a completely different car that they bring, that every single team brings to the track. So it's tough.
Yeah. How many units? Like, I know you don't know for sure, but if you had to add up or down on NASCAR betting, what are you this year? This year,
probably.
How hard is NASCAR betting?
It's hard, man.
Compared to other sports, because you bet on everything.
It's the hardest thing. I only bet on NASCAR because I'm already watching the race, and then a lot of times I'll just bet on drivers that I have in my fantasy lineup. That way I can cheer for them. Like, I'll bet on my top 10
I do the opposite.
And that way you can have a good day no matter what.
That's the
I
You can also have a bad day no matter what.
Yes.
Is the way to look at that.
I'm down for sure. Probably.
Do you think? I'm just asking y'all because I retired from gambling. Do you think it's too hard? Like, do they need to add more bets? Because let me preface that by saying I think there should be bets like how many cautions, caution laps, fastest pit stop, stuff like that.
I think that would,
if they broadened it, would it make it more hard? Would people even be interested?
I definitely think it would be more hard. I mean, it wouldn't be at first because, like, I remember when they brought UFC. And I've heard people talk about it, that UFC was free money because they didn't know how these guys trained, what they were good at. If you're a good takedown guy, if you're a good wrestler, and you're playing a dude that only does stand-up and I'm a good wrestler, all I have to do is get you on the ground and you have no chance. Now, you do have the chance to knock me out while we're on the ground, but my goal was to get you on the ground. So the sportsbooks were not caught up. I think it would be a learning curve that they just don't want to learn. They don't care.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care about NASCAR per se. They're so big. They care about the NFL, they care about the NBA, and they care about the MLB. That's the ones that everyone watches. That's what they bet on. They have no desire to take on something where they could possibly lose money. In the end, I think they would win. Like, you give them 2 years to run data on stuff like that, and the fastest pit stop, the fans would have, like, us personally, we would be like, hey, we know that Denny Hamlin's team is the best team every week, but they may still put it at like plus 100, and we'd be like, that's free money.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, it's one of those things that unless they get serious about it, which I think they have no desire to, that we won't ever see it. But I'm 100% with you. I would love to bet on stuff like that because it would make to where I don't have to pick, because like even in the NBA and in the NFL, I don't like picking who's going to win necessarily. I like betting player props. I like betting that Tom Brady is going to throw for 300 yards. Then I just cheer for Tom Brady.
So then where's the bet on fastest lap of the day?
Danny Hamlin.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that'd be an example, right?
Yes, that would be an example. You're betting
who's
on
gonna get the
a
fastest
driver.
lap?
Yeah, no, exactly. But that's something they would have to learn. You know what I mean? Because they run simulations on everything.
Yeah.
So they would run a sim, and it's too variable because they don't know enough. They're not buying a iRacing setup and running virtual setups and getting engineers to input how these cars are going to be designed to get them what they think is going to be successful for them.
Right.
I personally think so. So to me, to your point, I do think it's one of the hardest sports to bet on. It's right there with horses, but horses have more variables. You can pick, and at least when we went to Lexington, you can pick so many horses and still kind of win some money.
Right.
They don't allow. That's the other thing I hate with FanDuel is they don't allow you to parlay top tens.
Yeah.
They would
Well,
win.
they used to let you parlay till that guy won $1 million.
Well, exactly, but then again, it's Daytona, so I don't know. I mean, anything can happen there. But at the same time, like, why is Carson Hocevar plus 850? If we parlayed that with Ross Chastain, you still have the. I don't know. To me, it's just like anything else. If you have the odds on the top 10, why can't you put them together?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I guess the only thing that I will say is, like, to me, if they do that again, they should make it a minimum. So, like, if you say, and because that dude only put like $1 and he picked like 8 drivers, and so he got 8 out of the top 10, which is crazy. But FanDuel had so much more to lose than they had to gain. They only had $1 to gain off of that loss. So maybe you make it to where, hey, if you pick 8 drivers, you have to bet $50.
Yeah,
or you have
put
to
a minimum bet on it.
You have to put a minimum bet on it, which I wouldn't say I would do it, but maybe you have more interest in doing that. Like if you have a good feeling, you pick 5 and you have to put $75 on it. And you're like, okay, but if you win, then you get some more because your odds are not likely to happen at all, So you're probably getting that $75. But I think that's why they kind of shied away from that is because what do we have to gain from giving someone $1 million that bet $1?
Yeah, they got burnt.
Yeah, they get burned, and once you get burned, you just stick away from it because they got so many other things going. They didn't need it.
Yeah.
They didn't need it.
Well, in the meantime, we're just paddling up water.
Yeah.
Trying to figure it out.
Yep.
But we'll move into Darlington predictions. Colby, what do you think? What do you think the race is going to be?
Man, I think it's going to be good. I always enjoy Darlington. It's not going to be as exciting as Kansas. You just can't top that. Darlington, they do kind of run around a little bit at the top. There's going to be some good racing. It's going to be a good race, but I think Kansas has got our expectations really high right now. And I love Darlington. Throwback weekend, going to love every bit of it, but it's not going to be.
Even if the cars are side by side and a full car length, it's not going to be exciting as it was. Which would still be an amazing race. If there's a last lap pass, that's still going to be exciting. But if that car drives away, it's not going to be the photo finish that we got at Kansas.
Yeah, I think the big thing will be tires will matter.
Yeah.
We know that for sure.
Yeah.
Ford finally has some speed, so we might have a little bit of competition.
Allegedly.
But legitimately at the same time. It's Kansas. You can't hide at Kansas.
No, you can't.
And the Fords were up there, so I think they found something out. Do you think we'll see? I think I know the answer, but do you think we'll see a photo finish or?
No.
We've seen them before.
We have. I think at that track it'll be something like if Larson was to door Chris Buescher out of 4, he wrecks.
Yeah.
You just don't have the room to hang on to it. Larson doored him hard, and he was able to hang on to it twice. So I think if that happens, that car spins and the other guy wins. So I don't unless they just race super clean and someone has a heck of a run and doesn't get to him to the start finish line. Maybe you have a photo finish, but no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think my dream, just to tie this up, my dream scenario for this weekend would be we have some tire strategy, we have a long green flag race to the end, and the guy out in first is like 10 seconds ahead on old tires, and you got somebody in second that's coming.
Yep.
They're both battling through lap traffic, and like it's just going to come down to the guy in first is saving. The guy in second's running but not burning it up.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, that would be an ideal race.
Yes.
Because it would be just as exciting as Kansas, but something different than
100%.
a side-by-side finish.
Yep.
So, any other predictions? I mean, I'm just. I think we know what we're going to get.
I hope the race starts on time. I do think that, again, I know we brought it up. It is supposed to be sunny, but I think that's a factor.
Yeah.
It's a factor that no one really talks about, and I want to talk about it.
What time does it start?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Yeah,
so it's
so
going to end in the daytime, too.
It's going to end in the daytime. So if they have a delay of 2 hours, and like you said, it's supposed to be sunny, but you never know. We're in the South. We've gotten rain every day here for the past.
Yeah, we've been pounding.
Yeah, and we don't know. They're like storms, maybe. Say they get a window. I just hope it doesn't end early. That's one of those things. You know, I hope they don't get halfway or something and be like, they're calling it. You know? So, but.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've had a pretty good time here. Let's just go ahead and close it out with a stupid question. I know both of y'all have one, so we can do a fist fight to the death or rock paper scissors. I don't know. What do you want to do? Who wants to ask it?
You can do yours.
You want me to do mine?
Yep.
So what I wrote down was what can make rain delays fun. I know that Fox showed a history show during the rain delay, and I don't even remember who it was on.
They did a ton of them. They did every short movie they've made. They played them back.
Okay, they played them back to back.
And I don't know if you noticed this, because we were sitting there watching them all, just where me and Brittany were at. But all these little short, they did like little 5-minute stories on drivers all through the year. They played them back to back to back. We counted 4 times they played a Zach Bryan song.
Whoa.
And I was just like, okay, whoever's making these is has some taste in music. But
Okay.
I thought that was weird.
But I don't know, like, it's just weird because you don't see it in any other sport, really, like rain delays, because you can play football in the rain as long as there's no lightning.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and if there's lightning, you wait 30 minutes. You don't have to wait. What do we wait? 3 hours?
Right.
Yeah. So that's why it's stupid. But what could we do more, in y'all's opinion, to get fans engaged? Because at that point, I turn on the race and I look at 3 o'clock. I'm like, and again, it's not like, hey, we have signs of stopping. I'm on Twitter. I'm looking at Bob Pockrass, and I'm like, hey, he's calling for rain for the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
I have no desire to tune in.
To sit here.
Sit here and just hope the race comes back on. So, is there anything that they can do to be more engaging?
The only thing I can think of that would be entertaining is if we just shot Clint Boyer with a BB gun. Because I would watch that for 5 hours.
Yeah.
I think,
Go Chiefs.
I mean, this is, I heard them say this years ago. Some of their highest ratings back in the day came from rain delays.
Really?
Because they used to just go around and interview drivers.
I think that would be more
And
entertaining.
the number one, I feel like, unfortunately, we don't have the personalities to do that right now. We talked about it. I even think it was last time Colby was here, too, when Larson made that Asian joke.
Yeah.
That was during a rain delay.
Yeah, it was.
But, like, if these drivers would just open up a little bit and we just went around. And then also don't send fucking Michael Waltrip out to interview them.
Yeah.
Who's corny as hell.
Yeah.
And they did a little bit of interviewing drivers during the rain delay, as much as they could.
Yeah.
But it was 3 hours, you know.
Yeah, no, that's a long time to
I
get someone
think,
involved.
you know, play your little specials, which were cool. You know, we were watching the race with 2 people that have never watched a NASCAR race. So it was kind of perfect because they were watching these little shorts on people they didn't know about.
Yeah.
And luckily we didn't change the channel, right, which maybe most people would. But then once the race started, they're like, oh, man, I know who that is.
Yeah.
And then we were just, like, blessed with the best race to ever exist.
Pretty much.
But I think you got to do a little bit more interviewing drivers and just make it really, really genuine. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
I hate to shit on it, but when you send Michael Waltrip out there, like, nothing's genuine about it. It's just so corny and dorky.
Goofy.
It's so goofy.
Yeah.
And I just don't like goofy. You know, just ask them real questions or shoot the shit with them. Get them comfortable to where maybe they say something hilarious like Larson did.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Michael Waltrip was the one who interviewed Kyle Larson.
No, it was Mike Snyder's dad. What's his name? Marty Snyder. It was Marty Snyder that did that interview.
I was about to say, I know when Michael
There's a
Waltrip
door right
back
there. Because this is an NBC broadcast.
Okay. I forgot. Sorry.
Anything else you want to say?
No. Corey LaJoy's getting a win this year.
Oh, dude, I'd put money on that one.
Yeah. I wouldn't. Put 3 units on them.
Real quick, we're going to favorite memories. Mine would just be one from the race. Both of y'all have been there, so I kind of just want to take a second to hear what y'all think about it. Colby, I don't know if you remember, but when you went to Darlington, you told me one thing that's always stuck with me. I don't know if you remember.
The guy in the stands, the
No,
old man.
No, so I'll just go ahead and say it. But Colby went to Darlington, and he told me, he said, it felt like walking into your local track, and then there's all the Cup superstars.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you could touch on that. That just always sounded so cool to me. It's made me want to go ever since.
Yeah, it has like a historic hometown vibe. Plus, when you go to Darlington, there's nothing around Darlington at all.
No. Yeah.
So it feels like a small town vibe around there for sure. But my favorite memory of Darlington was me and Allie sat next to this old man, and this was right after Denny Hamlin got accused of doing horrible things with his baby mama.
And won the race.
Yeah, but anyway, this old man sitting next to me was at the race by himself, and he was like, yeah, I've been coming to Darlington my whole life. Like, I live around here. I just can't stand Denny Hamlin. And then I just kind of bit my tongue. I didn't come out as a Denny defender at that point. And then Denny Hamlin wins the race, and I'm like, woo! And I turned to him, I'm like, woo! Like that. And he just didn't say nothing. He just left. And that's probably my favorite memory.
Weren't y'all down there for intros?
Yeah.
And you yelled at Denny, too?
I said, Denny, you didn't do it. She's crazy.
This was right after his now fiance posted all those tweets. It was like, I don't deserve this. Like, you've been a piece of shit for years.
Yeah.
Yep. That's my favorite.
So
Spencer, what's your favorite memory?
Yeah, so I went to Darlington 2 years ago for this race, and I also took my girlfriend, and we got to go down to the track for the first time, and just seeing driver intros is really an experience.
Cool.
It is cool. I mean, we got there early, right when they opened the gates, so we were right there on the walkway, and you're getting to literally high five drivers right there.
Awesome.
Which is a cool experience. I mean, that's the closest I've ever been to them.
Yeah.
You get to walk down pit road, and some of the cars are out there, and so we got to take pictures literally right there, the closest you'll ever be. So I got a picture of Kevin's car that year, but he was running a ream scheme for cancer, so it was like a pink
With the pink number?
Yeah, he ran that car, which was really cool. But literally, once you get up into the stands and the race starts, it's literally just like you go to Bulls Gap. I mean, that's it.
So
Yeah,
cool, yeah.
That's how it feels. You have your cooler next to you, and you're just chilling, watching really old racing because the track is so unique.
Can y'all see them, like, get sideways off the corner?
Oh yeah, oh
You
yeah.
can kind of watch it.
Yeah.
It's on my bucket list.
Yeah,
I need to go there
it's
so
it's
bad.
one of those tracks, like maybe not your first one to go to, but definitely once you get into the sport, it
Once
has
you
to
understand.
be. Once you understand
Yeah.
how hard it is to drive something like that, it takes it to another level. It's so good. I mean, I loved it. The whole fan experience was amazing there. I mean, we got the radios and just had a good time listening to people cord up their tires, and then we got one of the best finishes ever when Joey Logano decided to door William Byron for the win.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was
he did too, because he was there when Larson rode the wall.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Stars were flying out.
Yeah.
And Denny
God,
was
so-
right there, and the old man.
Yeah, so it's one of those that always, I mean, you could get unlucky and not get a cool finish, but there's a high possibility that you do. And
Yeah.
so every time that you get a high possibility to get a good finish, that's the track you want to be at.
Yeah,
And-
I just feel like it's always good racing either way.
Yeah,
So
it is.
That's
It
the reason
is.
I want to go. I'm jealous that y'all both been there. So, all right. Well, where are we watching this week?
My house.
You're watching your house? I
Yeah.
guess my
that means
house
we're not
too.
invited.
Yeah.
No one's allowed at my house.
I just got to babysit the dog.
There it is.
You
There
can
it
bring the
is,
dog to
yeah.
my house and we could watch.
He's
I mean,
uncomfortable.
I'll watch it.
he was supposed to watch the race at my house last week and he bailed on me, so
I can't for Kansas. I
yeah.
was in fucking Atlanta.
I understand, but on the podcast you said I'm watching at your house.
Yeah, something came up. I had to go get sunburned.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess I'm watching at Spencer's house.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, he's gonna lie on tape.
No, it's recorded. I'm coming over as long as I bring my dog.
Yeah, I'll be here.
The dog is welcome.
Do I need to bring anything?
Yourself.
All right. Well, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
Well, man, Cody, I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Hopefully,
Really
it
do.
seems like about every 5-6 episodes we can track you down. So.
Yeah, I mean, you can find me somewhere.
But huge thanks to Spencer for putting all this together.
Thank
Huge
Yeah.
thanks to Colby for coming in. I just show up. But appreciate you boys. Appreciate y'all watching. And we'll catch you next time.
See ya.
Y'all be
Have
good.
a
Thank
one.
you.
Embers floating on a southbound breeze, somewhere between heaven and the tall pine trees. Hard land, I'm missing you. Guitar